Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 22nd, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. Take a look at this system out over the Gulf of Alaska and the Pacific Ocean. This one's got eyes on the Pacific Northwest, going to keep some onshore flow going, cool us down a bit here, and even bring a frontal system on in through western portions of Washington, maybe even down towards the Portland metro here. Odds of precipitation are better the further you go out towards the coastlines or northbound here, and we're going to watch this system come in with some good detail today. And we'll be watching these precipitation amounts that seem to be on the uptrend here over the last couple of days as well. And we'll also take a look at the extended forecast as always. This is looking at visible satellite imagery here, and you can see that marine layer pushed all the way into the Puget Sound, but you don't have to go that far east up into the foothills to get out of that marine layer there. Washington coast, Oregon coast, you can see that marine layer infiltrating some of the coastal range there. System way out over the Pacific Ocean here. You can see some smoke drifting around the area, the flat fire off to the northeast, and some of it going off to the south, but the most of that smoke is across central and northern BC here and off to the east of the Rockies of Alberta. Now, looking at this home weather station here, I've been pushing this one. If you want a nice, affordable one, this is a great option. I'm very impressed with this station. It's doing very well against much more expensive equipment. It's all solar powered. If you want to save 10% off, click on the link down below. This is looking at CTEC 78. We almost made it back to normal yesterday. I have a pretty good marine layer yesterday morning here. Nowhere near that record high set back in 2006 of 97. And we're probably going to try to make a run to get back towards average here again today as that sun starts to burn off the marine layer. But I want to point out a little bit here. Check out the record high precipitation amounts for the 24th, 25th here, about 0.28 and 0.40. We're probably not going to get there, but there is an outside chance if things line up just right. We could set an all-time daily precipitation record for CTAC. Again, if things line up just right. Models are showing a little bit lesser amounts than that. But the big takeaway is we're probably going to put an end to the dry streak here for some of the Seattle metro here, and maybe even down towards Portland. Better chances you go north towards Bellingham, southwest BC, and the Washington coast, and I'll show you those weather models here in a moment. This is hot and dry, breezy Saturday. National Weather Service Spokane. Watch out for those gusty winds, low relative humidity, so watch out for the fire starts out there. A lot of these fires are human caused this time of year. 5-day outlook, you can see the general cool down as we go through the mid next week here and early to mid next week as we go. Even Spokane, for example, is going to feel this trough with some nice onshore flow. Not a lot of precipitation showing up for the lower elevations here, but definitely a cool down coming. This is looking at the elevated fire weather concerns through the weekend, Pendleton, Oregon. And with this cool down here, of course, we get the stronger pressure gradient. We start to bring some of these westerly winds across the region, and that just helps enhance some of this fire danger. Now, this is looking at upper levels of the atmosphere. You've got Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California. Check out that trough. You saw it on the mid-level water vapor loop here, pinwheeling off our coastline. And then you can see as we go through Sunday night into Monday, this system starts to pivot through the area, driving a frontal system across the region. Again, we'll look at that in some more detail here in a moment, but we kind of hang out this troughing across the region as well. Might keep some afternoon thunderstorms going, some convection as we go on in through the mid to later portion of next week. We'll watch that later portion of the trough as we go over the next few days. This is at 850 millibars, about 5,000 feet. You can kind of see we've had this above average conditions aloft here over the last few days, and then as we start to move through into Monday morning shown here, you can clearly see the system out here and nice reprieve infecting much of the Pacific Northwest here with much cooler temperatures all the way in towards the midweek period here. One of the benefits of living in the Pacific Northwest, Mother Nature's air conditioning is never that far away here out over the Pacific Ocean. This is looking at the European as of last night. Let's watch this system roll through here. You can clearly see it out here. Not a bad low pressure system here for late portions of July. And you can see it swinging some precipitation across western Washington, trying to clip down into northwest Oregon as well. BC, of course, is going to be targeted better here at the Washington coast, Vancouver Island, some pretty good amounts. And the further you go north out of Seattle, your odds are better for Bellingham, southwest BC, Vancouver, etc. But you see not much of that getting over into eastern Washington, at least with that initial front here. But then we'll watch that troughing also on the backside of all this. This troughing is going to hang out and probably bring some additional afternoon thunderstorms here as we continue on in through the week. But we'll watch that as we get closer to it. This is the GFS. Let's see what it says. And if we put it into motion, you can clearly see this system out here. Not a bad low, again, for later portions of July. Swinging its frontal system here across Pacific Northwest. So pretty good model agreement there on the strengthening of the system here. versus a couple days ago. Some of the models weren't showing too much precipitation occurring, and we'll look at those totals here starting now. This is Everett, so this would be July 20th, the afternoon, the European run. Now watch what happens. Look at that uptrend to yesterday afternoons. Seattle, you can see some of the ensemble members had some precipitation, but the control basically nothing. Then look at yesterday afternoon. Big uptrend here. You can see couple tenths of an inch here for Seattle on the control run. And most of the ensembles have measurable precipitation, the mean being around 2/10 of an inch. This would be very beneficial. This is Vancouver, and this is also for the 20th afternoon, July 20th, July 21st. Big uptrend here. Look at this, over half an inch of rainfall coming in here, folks. Yeah, so look at the mean, up towards 6/10 of an inch here. Not bad at all. This is looking at Bellingham. You can see this is, again, the 20th. Now watch the uptrend here. Look at that. All the ensemble members now showing measurable precipitation here for Bellingham as well, with the mean about 6/10 of an inch. The control showing about a half an inch there. And some of these ensemble runs up over an inch here. You know, far and few between, but it's a nice uptrend for sure. This is Portland. Here we go, the 20th of July. And then the 21st, you see the uptrend clearly here, the mean about 1/10 of an inch here. So we'll see what this looks like tomorrow. We still have some time to watch the system come in here. Things can still change. This is looking at Hoquiam out on the coastline. Again, July 20th. Watch that uptrend. Look at that, 6/10 of an inch on the latest, or the yesterday afternoon's control, according to the European, and that mean up towards a half an inch there. So if you want some rain, get out to the Washington coast, the Vancouver Island coastline there, or get out to the Hoh rainforest there up against the west slopes of the Olympic Mountains. You're bound to get good amounts of rain here as we go on in through the July 24th to July 25th time frame. This is Spokane. This is the 21st. This is yesterday's run. Still not much help, but there is a little bit of precipitation showing up, but not counting on much at all over there east of the Cascades. This is Spokane Metro, although now they will feel the cool down. Take a look at this. Look at yesterday afternoon's run. Showed some temperatures only into the upper 70s here. Big cool down, as you can see the average high temperature for this time of year with that red line there. So a few days below average temperatures here before you start to bounce back, maybe through the extended. This is looking at Seattle, definitely going to feel the trough over here. Might not get out of the 60s here on Monday with that system rolling through. It should be interesting here. Maybe we'll keep it down around 68, 69, and you can see the average temperature for this time of year here, and then the slow climb back towards normal, and then maybe some above average conditions again here through the extended. But you can see Saturday, Sunday, not too bad the temperatures here. So you can see getting in towards the 80, low 80s here as we go. So yeah, not too bad. And then you're going to feel that trough roll in on Monday for sure. Now this is looking at the European. This is 48-hour precipitation running total. So as we go through Monday, check it out. It's showing some precipitation, then another round here Monday night here. About 1400ths for Seattle. You can see Portland about 500ths of an inch. Again, we got to take anything we can get. But to see the amounts on the coastline here, 2/3 of an inch there for up towards Quileute. Hoquiam there around a half an inch. More across Vancouver Island coastline. Some areas up over an inch there. Look at southwest BC. Nice dousing of rainfall here. And as we scroll all the way in towards Tuesday afternoon, you can kind of see the extent of this frontal system here. The further you go southwest Oregon down here, the further south you go, the lesser precipitation amounts. And of course, the Cascades are going to be wringing out a lot of this moisture before it can get to Spokane or Yakima or Pendleton, for example. This is looking at the GFS. Let's see what it shows. This is, again, the 48-hour running total here. And as you can see, Monday night, kind of get a couple rounds there. You get a little bit Monday morning and Monday night, but showing about 1200ths of an inch for Seattle. It's not a lot. It's something you would laugh at here in winter. You probably wouldn't even notice it, but during July, the later portion of July, it is a big deal. And you can see the coastal areas here, mainly Washington coast north and through Vancouver Island. Look at this. Some areas painting up over 2 inches of rain here along the coastline, and a nice dousing there across southwest BC as well. A little bit of a rain shadow showing up here on the GFS for North Seattle, just up to South Everett. This is looking at the NAM 12KM. This is the 12Z. This is hot off the presses here, so I'm interested to see what this says. We'll put it into motion. This model only goes out 84 hours here, so As you can see, we're about Tuesday morning here, showing about 1/10 of an inch for Seattle. Not bad for the Oregon coast and some of the Washington coastline here. Vancouver Island, again, southwest BC targeted, showing that little rain shadow here. Seattle north, kind of towards the Everett area here. So we'll see how this works out. But you can see it does bring some measurable precip all the way down, a little bit into the Willamette Valley even as well. Cascades will get a little bump versus the lowlands of western Washington. Yeah, and not much of it making that its way eastbound out of the Cascades. This is looking here at the 12 km. This is the GFS as of last night, the UW GFS, I should say. And if we put this into motion, you can kind of see that again with the extent being cut off at the Cascades there. But it does show that measurable precip in some of western Washington, again favoring the coastline, Vancouver Island and BC as well. This is if you look a little bit closer here, you can see maybe a couple tenths of an inch there near SeaTac, and it's kind of showing that rain shadow there again, just off to the north and east of the Olympic Mountains. But Everett not doing too bad with that, about 2/10 of an inch. This is 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook here. This Pacific Northwest does include it here. Even some of that making its way down into California a bit with this trough, trying to bring some cooler air in aloft. This is 8 to 14 days. It looks like we're going to bounce back again here as we go through the early portion of August. This was issued yesterday. Let's see if they've updated that yet. It doesn't look like it. You can see that they do have an elevated risk here for Monday. That system moving through and the gusty winds, it does not translate to a lot of moisture there east of the Cascades. You get kind of that downsloping effect, low relative humidities and gusty winds. Not a good combination there for some of the fire danger, and that would be NW10. That would include places like down towards the Tri-Cities and Spokane here. So heads up for that. You're going to have some fire danger, even though we've got this onshore flow and cooler temperatures, does not mean we don't have some elevated fire risk. This is the seasonal temperature outlook issued July 20th. If you missed this one, I showed it yesterday. This is August, September, October, and you can see the above average conditions expected along the west coast here. Now we're looking at precipitation below average. We're already pretty darn dry this time of year here, so I don't like seeing that too much. Suppression of the monsoon across the southwest as well. This is all the way through November, December, January, and this is purely El Nino driven right now, but we do have that above average signal. I do not doubt this at all. It's a pretty good bet here with the El Nino incoming here, the impending El Nino knocking on our doorstep. This is looking out towards December as well, and that below average signal here for the Pacific Northwest for precipitation. And if you want to go way off into the future here, next spring, March, April, May, of course you got to take all this extended forecast stuff with a grain of salt. We're just looking off into fantasy land and just kind of showing you the odds are favored for a warmer than normal spring coming up in 2024 because of the developing El Nino. This is a seasonal precipitation outlook for the same time frame there, just kind of showing you maybe some below average conditions. Now this is also looking at the drought condition here across some of BC, and they could do kind of the same thing here as the drought monitor here down across the lower 48, and you can see we're already into some adverse impacts across some of the red and the really dark red here, and some of the orange here. This has increased quite a bit since June 1st here across some of British Columbia, and you can kind of see that here. You see June 1st not doing too bad across much of the province, but as we extend on in through July, you can see things kind of deteriorate drought-wise across much of the area up there. This does not bode well here as we go through the summer months for the fire season up there across British Columbia. Then this is the drought monitor down here across Washington, Oregon. You can see we do have some moderate and severe, and at least we're not dealing with extreme and exceptional drought as of right now. So that means there's probably going to be some further drought development as we go, but hopefully this can put a little bit of a dent in it as we bring this system through here. Although after that, the odds are we're probably going to remain dry for a while. It is summertime here, so we'll see how this goes over the next few weeks, as always. But anyway, yeah, the system's going to be barreling down. Kind of an interesting thing to bring a system through here in late July. So I'm going to be interested to see just how much we get here for Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver, BC, Bellingham. Will any get down further into the Willamette Valley here? How much will we get on the coastline? What's this trend going to be like as we look at tomorrow? Things can change quite rapidly here. These systems are fickle. They are weak mid-latitude cyclones compared to what we get during the fall and winter, but we've got one coming our way here, so we might as well take advantage of it and cross our fingers, do a little rain dance, get out there, and maybe we can shake things up and bring in some more precipitation even than forecast right now. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. We'll do this again tomorrow. We'll check out the trend on this frontal system rolling our way here, and I will talk to you guys then.